Everyone, Rob Baldwin.
Thank you.
Over.
All right, cool, thanks. All right, what I wanted to do today was I just wanted to show you guys a few things that I'm going to be doing with the kids. And does this look familiar, Tammy?
Yeah.
Right?
I can't wait to see how you use it.
Yeah, so this is cool. So does anybody want to donate their water glass?
You can have mine.
Okay. Oh yeah, Jess, for sure. All right. So I want to show you, this is a, whoops, it's already on. This is a vacuum chamber, thank you. And what we're, okay.
That machine that he's using, by the way, is a suction machine used for respiratory therapy.
And so it's going to be used for.
And he found a way to use it. We donated it to
So
him.
what I have is I have a piece of maple, and this is zebra wood. And zebra wood's typically kind of a lot more porous. So, and I know you guys aren't going to be able to really see it in the back. I'm going to put these guys in here to weigh them down, so they'll be under the water.
You can check the video tonight.
There you go. Right. Oh shucks. So what this is for is, if I were making a pen, those blanks would be those would be my blanks, right? So instead of water, what I would have in there is I'd have this stuff called cactus juice. And what cactus juice is a resin that will be able to actually permeate. Let me make sure it's, oh, duh. Yeah, close it. So, there we go. So what it does is, this machine is actually pulling the oxygen out of the chamber. And so essentially what it's going to do is it's going to pull all the air out. You can see it bubbling now. So now it's actually doing its thing. So what it's doing is it's pulling all the oxygen, not just out of the water, but actually out of the wood. So once, and this process would probably take about an hour and a half. So once bubbles have stopped forming, then that tells me that there's no more air left in anything in the chamber. So then I would reintroduce the atmosphere and allow this resin to permeate all where the oxygen used to be. Oh, sorry. Also, dang it, I forgot to ask somebody the time. All right, thank you. Okay. So that what I could do then is remove these from the chamber, put them in an oven, and bake them for half an hour, and it hardens. So basically, I kind of like have plastic wood now, right? So it's what they would call stabilizing the wood. So it won't chip, it won't crack, it won't do anything. It'll just stay that way, right? So anyway, so it's kind of a cool process to be able to introduce this to kids, because there's a lot of science going on here that we don't realize. In fact, there's so much science going on here that I really can't tell you. We'll just have to Google it. All right? That's about all I can tell you is what I just told you about this process, right? As far as atmospheric pressure and I don't know, this needle is at HK, I forget what it stands for. It's like some term I've never even heard of before. So I'm like getting into these uncharted waters. But you know what they say? You want to learn something? Teach it, right? So anyway, right? So that's kind of the principle of this. And now you can hear. So that's air rushing back into the chamber. All right, so that's that. The other thing is, I told you guys a few weeks ago. Can I put this right here real quick? You guys all right with that? About the next project that I was really excited about. And I gotta tell you, you okay if I plant this right here?
I'm fine.
All right.
I'm amused.
Okay. You don't, since you're wearing glasses, they'll serve as eye protection. Yeah. Right? So you don't really need it with this thing. So this is the styro slicer. Thank you. So there's this little wire, this nichrome wire in here. And what it does is it heats up. The guillotine, right. So I can slice foam. Once it heats up. Let me turn it up a little bit. And the principle behind this, I wonder if one of my wires came loose in transportation. Should be heating by now. Okay, anyway, so I brought props just in case it failed. So this is basically, this piece of foam I cut out of this. All right, so you can cut it as thin as you want. And then what I do is I print out this jet fighter. And there's more to it. I just grabbed just because there's a bunch of small pieces on this. And then glued the paper on top. And all you have to do is just follow the paper. All right, so what kids are getting the idea then of doing, and that's why actually real young kids can do this. You know, I'm going to start with about age 8. Because what it is you don't really need a lot of hand and eye coordination with it. And it's not going to, because the wire's not going to cut through the paper unless it's super, super hot. But what we do is we get it to a temperature that it's hot enough to cut the foam, but not hot enough to cut the paper. So what it'll do is it'll just roll right along the paper. Make sense? Right? So, but what it's really doing is training kids then to have that hand and eye coordination with the wire and the line. Then what they can do is once they get pretty proficient at that, then if they go to a bandsaw or a jigsaw or a scroll saw or some other type of device like that, you know, to cut wood, then they already have that concept of following the line. It's harder than you think, especially if you've ever used a jigsaw, right? And you're getting on a line, and you know, and then you're a couple inches off after you just started, and then ruin your project, right? So anyway, so that's kind of some of the stuff that I wanted to do show and tell real fast for you all. So instead of talking about it, you can actually see what's going on. Because you know, I geek out on this kind of stuff. It's so much fun. It's just different, right? And the more I talk to you know, moms and dads about it, they get excited for their kids, and then they're like, yeah, but I'd like to do that. So what I plan on doing is on October the 8th, Pint Night at Wolf Creek Brewery, and I'm going to get a flyer going in the next week. And but from I think it's 5 to, yeah, it's Tuesday, but I think it's 5 to 8 is their times there, and I'm going to hopefully have a few more of these set up and working, so that we can yeah, something's not right, so that we can play around and make some jet fighters. Now the other cool thing about this is I can put a fence up here like I did to be able to slice it this thin, so we can do as thick or thin as we can with that. And then I also have plans on Manufacturing Day, which is October the 4th, is where a lot of the junior high and high school kids take field trips to us. We're going to have an estimated 1,500 kids come through this year. We had 1,000 last year come to COC. So what we can do though is I plan on having a little schematic kind of sketched out for them, and we'll have a few of these set up so that they can cut out blocks, and we're going to make a building. So I need volunteers too for that day. So if you have a few hours to spare, it's a Friday.
How early in the morning?
I think it starts at 8:30, so it'd be 8:30 to 3. But like I said, you don't have to stay all day. I mean, if you do, you're awesome. But if you can do a couple hours, that'd be fantastic. So it's a Friday, October 4th. At it's not the Aquatic Center. It's right above the Aquatic Center. What's that called up there?
Oh, the community center.
Yeah. Okay, community center. Yeah.
At the sports
Yes.
complex.
Right. Okay. So. All right, so that's just a couple things. Some of the other stuff that I've done is cornholes. And you see I got my lovely logo printed on there, but don't look too closely because it's kind of blurry. I didn't have a vector file. So apparently that's important, right? So Micah was instructing me on that. But stuff like this that I make, I'll make this for clients. And again, all the stuff that I do helps support this. All right, which, speaking of this little machine, I'm actually looking for family sponsors to sponsor one of these in its entirety. There's some electronic components underneath here, and so there's a cost involved in that, obviously, so it's about $60. And so what I have plans to do, if I have a family that can sponsor one of these, I'm gonna have a little plaque done in the family's name and stick it right on the side there, right? So every time somebody uses it, it's like, look at that, Mia Hargrove, yeah. Thank you, Mia. So all the kids will have, you know, fun with that, right? So, all right, how much time do I have? Because I'm not really keeping track.
Well, the phone is.
We good?
I can't really.
All right, so here's one of the questions. When you're not teaching summer classes, what are you involved in to be active with your nonprofit? Trying to figure out what time already?
It's okay, take another minute. We got
All right.
Okay.
So what else am I doing? I'm actually trying to figure out the next project and working on that and trying to hone it in, because you'd be surprised. I thought, oh shoot, look, somebody had this jet fighter on the internet that I paid $5 for, copied the pattern, and I thought, oh cool, then I'll just make it, right? Well, it's not so easy, because what I did was I shrunk this down from like this large scale and wasn't really thinking about it, where then you connect all the other components. So I have to kind of do some tweaking on that. So there's a lot into it. So that's just one thing. And then fundraising. So, all right, so I guess my time's up. That's it. Thank you guys, appreciate it.